everybody, my name is Emma Matreniuc and I'm an English teacher. Dear students, today we are going to talk about such important issue as global influences. So, before we proceed to this very serious issue, we can say that today in class we will identify what global influences are. We will discuss the notion of cultural understanding. We will study relevant word combinations, and we will discuss human behavior on racial issues. Isn't it challenging? So, global influences. What is the first idea that comes into your mind when you hear this word combination? Is it about racism? Is it about stereotypes? Is it about discrimination or other influences? Is it about global influence that we have on our lives? Okay, let's examine the model of multicultural understanding presented below, and maybe you can find yourself. So, in the center of this circle, you see individual. Probably this is you or me or anyone else. The next circle represents family, and the next one is community. But overall, they are all very interconnected. Around the circles, you see the culture, the world we are living in. And it comprises different rubrics like education, child-rearing practices, religious practices, family of origin, cultural values and attitudes, profession, long-standing prejudices and practices counter to diversity, conception of self, conception of past and future, conception of justice, or games, ethnicity, cooking, language and the arts, and socio-political factors. Look around all these points. Can you think of them presented in your lives? Surely, some of these are surely presented in our lives. Now, let's perform the following tasks if you bear in mind what we have discussed before. Number 1, think and describe ways in which families, groups, and communities influence the daily lives and personal choices of individuals. It can be taken from your own experience, from history, or from somebody else's experience. Try to describe it. Think about it and analyze. Number 2, explore and describe similarities and differences in culture, in the ways groups, societies, and cultures address similar human needs and concerns. Of course, every culture is different, but there are a lot of similarities between them. And this is up to us to understand, to accept, and to respect these differences. Okay, so let's see how else can we describe it. Our culture makes us different because there are a lot of different ways people celebrate history, holidays, music, and traditions. Our cultures can be similar because we might have things in common like going to school and spending time with our families, but our schools and family activities might be very different. Look at this picture. What do you see? Try to describe this picture. Do you have the same traditions? Maybe anybody else has the same tradition and you can describe it. Or maybe you have absolutely different traditions in your family. Now, let's look at the following explanation. People usually have their own traditions and customs within their families. They get used to certain rules and habits, and it makes them feel peaceful and happy. Studies have shown that feelings of belonging and trust in others were the strongest predictor of mental well-being after controlling for physical health problems. A flourishing society requires people to feel a sense of control and collective voice that can enable them to influence positive change. And of course, it can be referred to any family in any country. Now, let's look at some words. Let's think whether we know them, and let's consider their definitions. Xenophobia, segregation, apartheid, racial discrimination, assimilation, racial stereotyping, ethnocentrism. What do you think about these words, about these notions? Have you ever heard about any of them? Have you ever experienced any of them? Can you provide any examples from history or maybe from materials that you studied? For example, xenophobia is an expression of perceived conflict between an in-group and an out-group and may manifest in suspicion by the one of the other's activities, a desire to eliminate their presence and fear of losing national, ethnic, or racial identity. Segregation is the systemic separation of people into racial or other ethnic groups in daily life. These words have a very serious connotation, and it needs from us, from people, from humanity, a very serious attention. Apartheid was a system of institutionalized racial segregation that existed in South Africa and Southwest Africa from 1948 until the early 1990s. Think about people who suffered from apartheid. Now let's explore the way these things have affected the development of humankind throughout centuries. How could at least some of these actions be avoided? Maybe we need more attention. Maybe we need more serious attitude towards these issues. Racial discrimination is any discrimination against individuals on the basis of their skin color or racial or ethnic origin. Individuals can discriminate by refusing to do business with, socialize with, or share resources with people of a certain group. Ethnocentrism in social science and anthropology, as well as in colloquial English discourse, means to apply one's own culture as a frame of reference in order to judge other cultures, practices, behaviors, beliefs, and people, instead of using the standards of the particular culture involved. We discussed a lot of serious issues and penetrated into the deep human relations. So, what we have learned today? We have learned a set of notions connected with the global influences issues. We have discussed the branches of global influences understanding. We have talked about similarities and differences in different cultures. And we have found out and explained difficult notions that affect the humans. So far, dear students, we hope you have learned a lot of new things today from this unit, and you have found out the issues that will be of a help to your all-round development and to broaden the horizon of your knowledge. See you next time!